Hello, I am AI Beatrice, and welcome to the Elevating ECE podcast. This is the show for early learning directors, owners, program leaders, and entrepreneurs who believe excellence should be sustainable. Each week, you'll hear practical strategies, coaching, systems, training, and responsible AI supports to help reduce daily friction, strengthen your team, and protect the work that matters most. Thanks for being here. Let's elevate early childhood together.
Elevating childhood education, where leaders rise, children thrive, and your program becomes a legacy of excellence.
Let me say something that might sting a little bit because it changed my leadership. If your center can't run without you, you don't have a team, you have a dependency. And listen, this isn't shame, this is freedom, because the goal of an elevated ECE leader isn't to do everything. It's to build people and systems and culture so the center thrives with you, not because of you. Today, we're talking about mindset shifts every ECE leader needs to make, the internal upgrades that create stronger teams, calmer classrooms, and healthier leadership. Welcome to Elevating ECE, where we help early childhood leaders, owners, entrepreneurs, or those aspiring to be, help them to grow skills and strengthen teams and raise the quality of care without burning out. I'm Beatrice Hutchison, and this month's theme for the month of February is the Elevated ECE Leader. If you've ever thought I'm doing my best, but I'm exhausted, this episode is for you. In this episode, I'm giving you 7 mindset shifts that elevate your leadership immediately, plus a quick exercise you can do today with your team. And I want you to listen for the one shift you need the most right now. So among the 7, whichever sticks out the most to you, I want you to really focus in and hone in on that. Not all 7, right? But just the one. We got to make small changes, but changes that make impact. So the first mind shift is from I have to do it to I have to develop it. A lot of ECE leaders are high achievers. We're fast, we're capable, we're problem solvers. We're used to thinking on our feet. But that strength becomes a trap when it turns into this belief. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Or if I don't do it, it won't get done right. Here's the elevated mindset, though. Your job is not to be the hero. Your job is to build heroes. The practical shift here is that instead of taking over, ask, what would you do next? What support do you need to try that? Let's practice it once together, right? So these are some questions that you may ask to those that you are training to also be leaders. Let me share this quote with you. A leader is best when people barely know they exist. When the work is done, they say, we did it ourselves. And that quote is by Lao Tzu. Mind shift number 2. From compliance to culture. Compliance is about rules. Culture is about what happens when you're not in the room. An elevated leader doesn't just enforce policies. They build shared standards, shared language, and shared pride. Examples of compliance leadership would be because I said so, or that's the policy, do it or else. But some examples of culture leadership are this is who we are here. This is how we do it at our school. Here's why this matters for children. So you see how there's a difference there in just the terminology. So we want to move from the compliance to the culture shift. And so the practical shift here is that you create 3 culture anchors that you repeat constantly. So, number 1, around safety, the emotional and the physical safety. Number 2, consistency, which are your routines and expectations. Number 3, support, which is your coaching over criticism. And a quote I'd like to share with you here is that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Often attributed, this quote is attributed to Peter Drucker. It's a common leadership saying, but it is very, very true. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's a part of what we do, it's who we are. My shift number 3. From fixing teachers to coaching teachers. So we're not fixing them, we're coaching them. This is huge. Fixing sounds like, why can't you get this? Just do it like this. Or I'll handle it, right? Because you can't understand why they just can't get it and do it the way you're instructing them to do it. That's how fixing sounds. But when we look at it from the perspective of coaching, coaching sounds like, let's look at what's happening. What do you think is triggering it? What's one small change we can test today? Explain to me why you think that or why you get that, right? So it's encourage trying to encourage their participation in that coaching process. Elevated leaders coach with curiosity first. So you ask a lot of questions. Use this coaching microscript and keep it simple. Number 1, you can observe. Here's what I noticed. Or you can lead with an ask. What do you think is causing that? You can lead with a try. Let's test one strategy for 48 hours. Or you can also proceed with a follow-up. What changed? What didn't? And then talk about the outcomes there. Let me share this quote. People don't leave bad jobs. They leave bad leaders. This is a widely shared leadership truth, and in some circumstances can be very, very true and is. But this is not about blaming, it's not about eliciting any type of guilt, but this is about improving leadership influence, not about blaming leaders, but finding out, identifying what's not working, and then putting systems and strategies in place to make it work. Now, mind shift number 4, from reactive leadership to predictive leadership. What does that look like? Reactive leadership is living in constant urgency, constant emergencies. You often hear me talk about the fires, those call outs, the behavioral escalations, the parent complaints, the licensing stress, all the things that we can encounter on a day-to-day basis. That's what the reactive leadership looks like, always solving issues and always putting out fires. But predictive leadership, on the other hand, asks, what keeps happening? And how do I build a system around it? How do I prevent this from becoming the constant, from becoming my everyday? Or if it is the everyday, what system can I build to prevent this from being the constant? Examples of predictive leadership systems are, you put in place a call out protocol. So who covers what in what order in case of a call out. Another one could be a daily classroom health check where you're checking your ratios, your supplies, your transitions, looking to see if the environment is without any risk of hazard, right? Making sure that the environment is safe. Another one could be a behavior response plan. So every teacher isn't improvising alone. What do you do when you have these types of behaviors? Already having a plan in place so that teachers know how to respond. Another is a parent communication rhythm, where you provide like weekly updates that prevent surprises, that keeps that ongoing communication going. Elevated leaders don't just solve problems, they reduce how often the problems repeat. A quote to share here is you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And that's by James Clear. Mindset shift number 5. From perfection to progress. ECE has so many moving parts that perfection becomes a prison. Progress leadership sounds like we're improving by 1% every week. Or let's get the next step right. Or let's pilot, not punish. Try this with your team. Ask, what's one small win we want by Friday? Not, let's fix everything today. What's one small win that we can accomplish, or what can we identify that we want by Friday? This mindset keeps morale up and builds momentum. Mindset shift number 6. From I'm alone to I build leaders. This is where centers truly, truly elevate. If leadership is all in your head, your center's success is fragile. But when leadership is distributed, your center becomes stable, your program becomes stable. Elevated leaders create many leaders, right? This can go back to the 5 levels of leadership, that strategy that was presented by John Maxwell, where you get to the place to where you are moving toward that pinnacle stage, right? Where you want to work on producing other leaders so that leaders could also, that these many leaders can also lead when you're not there. So this, an example of this would be a lead teacher over transitions, or a lead teacher over family communication, or a lead teacher over environment and materials, or a lead teacher over onboarding support, having teachers that are designated to be over certain areas. And you look at the skill set and maybe even the things that teachers are interested in, and you put them in those areas and have them be your mini leader over the different areas. A practical shift here could be pick one person this month and give them a small leadership lane, a little task or something that they can do, but that they could own, right? So that they feel that they are a part of this. But you give them something to do, to accomplish, a task to carry out for you. Give them a clear outcome about what the expectation is around it, and then do a weekly 10-minute check-in. That's how you build capacity. So it's about building capacity, not doing it yourself, but it's about building others, the capacity of others, so that they can do it when you're not around. Mindset shift number 7. You move from I have to be liked to I have to be trusted. This one is tender. Being liked feels good. Everyone likes to be liked. But being trusted is what creates healthy centers and programs. Trusted leadership means clear expectations, consistent follow through, calm communication, fair accountability. Remember, you can be kind and still be clear. You can be supportive and still have standards and still be compliant. A team doesn't feel safe when the leader is unpredictable. They feel safe when the leader is consistent. So now let's do this activity together, because I want us to see how we can actualize this in our lives, right? So we want to see how we can put this into practice in our lives. And so I am going to share my screen here. And you can use for this activity, you can use a whiteboard or you can use a notepad. I'm just going to put it here just for the sake of time and also visibility. And so I just have a basic a Word document open, just a blank one, just that we can put this in. So I want you to, let's do this exercise together. So it's going to be the old thought. We're moving from the old thought to the elevated thought, right? Because it's about changing mindset, having that mindset shift. So we're moving from the old thought to the elevated thought. And so I want to, let's start off with number one. Number one says, the situation that drains me most is. And so I want you to fill in the blank there. It can be what drains you the most in your program, call outs or behavior issues or late pickups or staff conflict. It can be any of the above. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to say the situation that drains me most is call outs. And then number two would be my current default thought is, and then you fill in the blank. What is your default when you get call outs or when things happen at your program? What is your default thought? I'm going to add one in there just as an example. I have to handle everything, right? Something else that I have to handle, something else I have to take care of, another fire to put out. Number three would be the elevated thought I'm choosing is, and then we can say things like I'm going to build a call out schedule or a protocol for when we get call outs. I'm going to build systems. I'm going to build leaders so that they don't all have to depend on me, whatever it is that you want to put in, but you fill in the blank. So the elevated thought I'm choosing is, and I'm going to use here just as an example, I'm building systems and leaders so everything doesn't depend solely on me. All right, and then number four, one small action I'll take in 48 hours. And so what does that look like? What will I do? What can you do in 48 hours? What one step can you take? So you see from number one, we are talking about the situation that drains us. Then we're talking about what our immediate default thought is. Then what is the elevated thought that we're going to choose to put in its place? And then one small action in relation to that that we can put in place in the next 48 hours. So I'm going to say, keeping with the whole theme of we're talking about the call outs, I'm going to say create a call out coverage plan or chart so that people know who's in charge or what to do in the event of a call out. And so it's as simple as that, right? So it's only four different things, but that helps to move you from that old thought pattern to the new elevated thought pattern. So you want to think about one situation, and this is just what I chose, but it could be anything. I want you to make it really individualized to you and what you experience. So what is the situation that drains you on a day-to-day basis? And then what's your default thought that you always revert back to? Then you want to intentionally change that. So you want to think of an elevated thought that you're going to choose now, intentionally choose to put in place to replace that I have to handle everything, or whatever it is that you choose, that's that default thought for you, then this elevated thought will replace that. So it says, I'm building systems and leaders so everything doesn't have to depend solely on me. And then the last part is, what small action can you put in place in 48 hours? What step can you put in place that will help to rectify the situation that drains you? So you're changing your mindset. I don't have to do it all alone. I'm going to build systems where I'm not doing it all on my own. So what am I going to do? I get burnt out and drained by the call out. So I'm going to create a call out coverage plan, or create a chart so that everyone knows what to do in case of a call out. Whether I'm there or not, it will be able to work and will be able to function. All right. And there you have it, a small activity that could help to move you towards the elevated mindset. And so that was our goal today. We really want you to start thinking of, how can you elevate that mindset? How can you shift your mindset so that you're no longer thinking that you have to do everything yourself, that it's not all on you, but how can you build systems to help you not have the fires be the constant in your day-to-day work, because you will get burnt out and you're probably already there. So we want to build systems that can pull you out of that, give you some of your time back, give you some of your sanity back, maybe even allow you to stop getting some of those gray hairs from all the stress. So we want to give you systems that can really, really help. So we gave those 4 steps. And so if you want to share, I'd love to hear your number 3. What's going to be the new mindset that you're shifting to? What's the new thought that you're shifting to? So you can please drop that down in the comments below. I'd love to see what you have to say. So let me encourage you. Being an elevated leader doesn't mean you never get tired. That's not what we're saying. But it does mean that you lead from a place of intention instead of constant urgency that causes burnout, causes ongoing anxiety, causes stress, and stress can lead to so many different health issues. So we don't want that to be the constant. We want you to be healthy. We want you to enjoy the work that you do. So we want you to put some things in place so that you don't have that consistent urgency around everything, but that you now can get some peace and can get some normalcy, and could put some systems in place that really, really can help shift your culture and the way things are done in your program. Because here we talk about moving towards excellence, and so that's what we are after. So this month we're building leadership that is steady, clear, and sustainable. This month we're going to focus on the different topics that will help to not just you to have sustainable programs, but to also help you to build other leaders, as well as to just build legacy. If this episode helped you, then I'm going to ask you to do a few things for me. Subscribe so that you get the Elevating ECE leadership tools, because we will be offering some free tools to you as well as we move throughout the month. Also, I'm going to ask that you would comment. What shift hit you the most? At the beginning, I talked about whether it was, we did 7 of them. So which of them kind of resonated the most with you? So please drop that down in the comment section as well. And then the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is share this with an ECE leader, a friend, or someone that you know that's aspiring to be. And especially for those that already run programs, if you know they're carrying too much and you know there's a lot on them, then this is something that needs to be shared with them. And if you want a printable resource, I'll link it in the comments below. I have a mindset shift and coaching script similar to what we talked about here today, but I put it into a 1-page guide for you So you can also go down in the description or the show notes below and also get access the link there to get your free copy. One last thing to leave with you. Remember, you don't elevate by doing more. You elevate by thinking different, then building what supports that thinking. See you next week.
Elevating childhood education, where leaders rise, children thrive, and your program becomes a legacy of excellence.